What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the latest live Ask WrestleJuice. If you guys got questions along the way, go ahead and load up chat, and I'll answer them. Hopefully, we'll get through most of the questions that we have here on the community thread, and that's where I post up the question threads is at the WrestleJuice channel in the community thread every, Thursday or so. I do that, and of course, it's been kind of a busy week for wrestling stuff in general between AEW's Leatherface match and then just today it was reported from the Orlando Sentinel that Cash Wheeler has been arrested for a single count, a third degree felony single count of aggravated assault with a firearm, which can range from showing your gun to people to actually shooting somebody. It seems like the situation here had to do with a road rage incident where he flashed his gun, and one person that I saw said that the affidavit said that he pointed it. So he had a hearing today where he was released on $2,500. He turned himself in. Apparently it happened back on the 27th. And he's been released on a $2,500 bond. He had to surrender all of his firearms. But the one thing they didn't make him do is surrender his passport. So the first question is from Adam Bull, and he says, do you think Cash's arrest will not allow him to go to All In? It seems like at this point he'll be able to go to All In as long as he keeps his nose clean between now and I don't know what, next week or whatever it is. So it seems like he's going to be there at All In to have his match against the Young Bucks. Somebody else asked what should they do with the titles if he's not able to make it and it's the Young Bucks against somebody else. Earlier today over at the Friendo Club or Going in Raw channel, somebody suggested maybe they move the Adam Cole MJF thing to like the tag title match against the Young Bucks. So and FTR would vacate them. So I guess that would be a possibility. I don't know. AEW is so loaded and there's so many wrestlers who currently aren't scheduled to be at All In that they could easily just grab a couple people. I don't know, Big Bill and Brian Cage, maybe. I don't know. So they could still have that match. So we'll see. What is this? So look at that. That's cool. So we'll see how it works out. But for right now, it doesn't seem to be a thing. Now, once, I would imagine, he's pleading not guilty. He's a pretty rich guy. He's white. It's Florida. So he's got all those things going for him in terms of probably not having to do any time is my purely baseless speculation on that one. So I kind of feel like it's going to be, in the end, for him, relatively consequence-free. But I guess we'll find out. We'll see. Maybe he'll get probation and a hefty fine, some sort of restitution to the victim in this case. But I don't know, man. There's not enough info right now to know what's going to happen long-term with Cash Wheeler, with FTR. I know that Dax has talked about this being like their last full-time contract, so I don't know, man. We got a super chat already from Tom Talks Rubbish. Says, just an appreciation post. Would still love to have you on my show. I'll see if I can make time for that, Tom Talks Rubbish. But yeah, it's Florida. Generally speaking, you can get away with a lot in Florida. Anyways, so let's talk about let's see what's next. Here we go. All right, so this is a quiz. This is sort of outside. We'll get to the Leatherface thing here a little bit later. What's the Leatherface question? I have no, it's not there. Okay. So Eltham says, since now you are in the wrestling business yourself, meaning Action Coast Wrestling. So for those of you who don't know, me and my partner Larson over at Going in Raw, we purchased a wrestling company called Action Coast Wrestling. It runs out here in Sacramento. We're starting to expand a little bit. So Elthon says, what are some lessons you've learned and have picked up that made you appreciate and understand the business more? Are there things maybe you took for granted that maybe you understand more? So one thing that I enjoy doing at the wrestling shows is I'll grab a camera and I'll videotape like a second angle of the match. And one thing I appreciate, I don't edit the matches. We have an editor to do that for our show, Surge. But one thing I appreciate is just how difficult production is on trying to get a decent match together for YouTube, for broadcast. like getting a good angle and following the action as a camera person is kind of hard, especially when you understand that you've only got like 2 camera angles. You've got the guy over there and you got me. And it's not the easiest thing in the world. But I'll be honest with you, we might be owners of the company, but we have our general manager, Magnum AD, pretty much take care of all the stuff. I still want to protect myself from the magic of the wrestling business. Adam Messenger says, Steve, did you email the WrestleQuest people yet? I did. I did. And stay tuned. Apparently, so we had been emailed from the good people over at the WrestleQuest video game months ago and said, hey, I want you and Larson to be DLC. And I forgot about the email, and then the damn game came out, and all my contemporaries are in the game, and I'm not. So I emailed them, and I said, you got any future releases or sequels? Let us know. And they wrote back. So stay tuned. Chris McFadden says, do you think giving Karrion Kross a faction or a team with Loomis would help him? I don't know about Loomis. Loomis has devolved into a comedy character, which is kind of interesting because he's a serial killer. Or at least I'm not centered. So, man, I don't know. I probably not with Loomis unless they give him like a big sort of, I don't know, turnaround as a character. A faction would be cool. You know, man, I know Karrion Kross is a depth guy, but like, man, he should be getting like big wins. I don't know what the deal with that is. I honestly don't. So yeah, sure. Give him a faction. I think he'd be great for a faction. Stu Wallbaum says, oh, here we go. Opinions on the idea of companies using matches to promote something like that Texas Chainsaw game on Wednesday. Stu here says, I feel like it could really devalue a match or program, and it honestly has go away heat with me. So we saw WWE do this with the Zombies, and then, of course, Jeff Jarrett won the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre Deathmatch Championship. It was that cool belt with Leatherface's face on it. Of course, Leatherface showed up at the end of the match. There's all sorts of, opinions, a very divisive situation, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre match. I didn't really see a big deal with it. I said this on the Going In Raw recap. It sort of meant like nothing. It was a commercial. It was an advertisement. I thought the actual meat of the match was pretty fun. I thought it was silly. Especially Jeff Jarrett's crew. They seem to be having a lot of fun with it. But I don't know. This is no different. WWE, they did this with the zombie stuff. They did it in the past with like, I don't know, little vignettes for KFC where they'd have various people dress up like the Colonel. I don't know, man. I just don't think that it's like, it doesn't mean anything. So like, it just sort of takes away from the actual product. It took away time from the actual show because they're building to like 2 huge shows. So, I mean, I guess maybe they could have waited until after All Out to do something like this when they don't have anything coming up on their schedule. But I understand that time really matters when it comes to these video games. So I don't know, man. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. You got to make money. I honestly do not care about, for example, I think it was WrestleMania when you had like Quicken Loans or whatever it was, TurboTax, whatever it was, like their logo showing up. I don't really care about that. Honestly, I tune that stuff out after a little while. It doesn't bother me at all. When you start like throwing people and stuff into the matches, then it's just like, okay, I know that I cannot really pay attention to this. I know I cannot care about this because it's just a commercial. It doesn't matter. So I don't know. It doesn't bother me, but it also doesn't do anything for me. So Andrew Sharp says it's apparent that factions are a very Triple H era thing so far. However, it doesn't just seem like AJ and the club ever feel like they have steam behind them. It's because they're a face faction, and do face factions just not work as well as heel factions? I do think that's kind of part of it. They're not allowed to have as much fun. The Good Brothers, they just seem like bad guys. And when they're good guys, they just sort of seem like neutered bad guys. So yeah, they need to get them involved in something. I mean, maybe if you do like a cross-brand rivalry with Judgment Day, that could work. Obviously, AJ would be a great opponent for Roman Reigns, so you could do a Bloodline versus... But everything Bloodline right now is Bloodline on Bloodline. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Jey Uso can recruit when he comes back. He can recruit... what's their faces? AJ and the club. I don't know. They just need to be involved in something. They need to be involved in anything, in something. Ozzy Dragoon says Steve will sell out anyone to anything. You got that right, man. Money talks. The sooner you learn that, the better you're going to be. Let's see here. Drew says, how much change do you see happening after the merger, WWE and UFC? Minimal stages are already giving a UFC vibe and allows more ticket sales. Oh, minimal stages. Okay, I understand what you're saying, like the setup. He says, I can see the massive stages outside of WrestleMania and the prepaid Saudi shows are a thing of the past. I don't think that's going to be the case for WrestleMania because they're still able to sell like I think Philadelphia is like almost at like 90,000 tickets sold or something like that. If you can get 90,000 sold and still have that huge stage, which matters for spectacle and production, I think the big stages are going to stay. It's not like last year's stage. Well, no, last year's stage was pretty elaborate. I think those are here to stay. The Saudi shows make a lot of money, and so I don't think those are going anywhere either. In fact, I think that they've been around for like, 5 years? In another 5 years, they're going to re-up at probably double the amount. They're going to be making a shit ton of money, like unreal money. So I think those are going to stick around. Again, that's what it all boils down to. What's going to get the most money? Let's see here. Braden Loader says, with the correct booking, who do you think could be AEW's next main event player? This is easy. He's already been in multiple main events. They just need to elevate him a little bit, and I hope they do that after he takes this loss to Sting and Darby Allin. I'm talking about Swerve Strickland. I think everything they've done with him lately, everything they've done with AR Fox and him lately has been really, really cool. You need to establish more, I think, the rest of his faction, though. I don't know what you do with Brian Cage. He stands out because he's such like a wrestler looking guy. But yeah, no, I think it's Swerve. I think that they really need to build him up as like a bad guy. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Chad Taylor says, what is a movie themed match you want to see? And what are the rules and slash stipulations? Like, is there a structure involved? So again, looking at the Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing. Oh man, I don't know. I wasn't really prepared for this question. So I'm just going to throw out, I'm going to look around here and see Star Trek. I got a poster of Star Trek 2 Wrath of Khan over there. So like a Wrath of Khan style match, which I don't know. I don't know what you do with that. What other movies do I have around here? True Romance? Nightcrawler? Yeah, no, I don't know. I got nothing. A movie. How about this? You guys in chat load up some ideas for like a movie themed match and I'll read some at the end of the show here. Here we go. Richard says, do you think it was best for everyone involved with the WWE releasing Lacey Evans? I seem to have no idea what to do with her since the day she started the company. I disagree with that, Richard, because the first, I don't know, big chunk of Lacey Evans' time there in WWE, she was working perfectly. She was the sassy Southern Belle. That was so perfect for her. And then like you'd see her doing like signings and stuff, and she was staying in character. It was really good stuff. She was really good at that. And then she went away, and then she came back, and for some reason, and I actually, the seed of the idea of her being a Marine, I think is kind of a cool idea. But like, and then when she was doing like for a while, they couldn't figure out if she's like good guy or bad guy. Like she was doing those heartfelt promos about like, you know, her growing up and how bad it was. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. They're really letting her, because that's like her actual story. I was like, that's a cool idea. But like, I don't know how you translate that to wrestler, and neither did they. So I don't know. I kind of feel like bring back the sassy Southern Belle. I thought that was a really good character. Let's see here. Cameron Shank says, what is your favorite so bad it's good thing in wrestling history? I don't know. Probably, I'll be honest, it was me, Austin. It was like the Vince McMahon being revealed as the higher power. It was so obvious because you just knew they had nothing else. There were like no concrete clues. So it's like, it's just going to be Vince, isn't it? For no good reason. It was just Vince. Will says, who else in your opinion should WWE put the World Heavyweight Championship belt on to try to build a good lineage with it? He says Finn, Drew, and maybe AJ. I like that. Finn, I think would have been a good idea, and they still should do that. Drew McIntyre's, I mean, it seems like Damian Priest is probably going to be the next guy to get it. AJ's a great idea. Gunther, I think, would be a terrific guy. There's so much great talent right now that they do treat correctly that I think it's going to have a really good lineage out the gate. Lord Blake says, has NXT jumped the shark, or do you think they can recapture the magic that was 2016 to 2019? I don't think it's jumped the shark. I think what they're doing there is kind of working, infusing some like main roster talent on the show to try to boost ratings and get more, I don't know, more veteran talent there. They've got some really terrific talent. My personal thing with NXT, why I don't really watch it on a regular basis much. The presentation to me personally is ugly as hell. It really is. I cannot stand the color scheme, that small venue. I wish they would tour. It sucks. I know they won't because they probably can't fill up week to week venues. But if they got smaller venues, that could probably work. But then they'd have to bring in like the veterans. I don't know. It'd be a mess. So I understand why they don't do it. I just can't stand the presentation of NXT. It bothers the shit out of me. It feels small. It just feels small. Ed Wood says, if you had to choose, what would you rather between the two options? Cody and Roman WrestleMania Night 1, Rock and Roman WrestleMania Night 2, or Cody, Rock, and Roman in a triple threat at WrestleMania 40? I'd go with the last one. I'd go Cody. No, I wouldn't. I'd do Roman both nights. Cody, Roman. It would be the opposite, though. It'd be Rock, Roman Night 1, Cody, Roman Night 2. Zach Blackwood says, let's say Shinsuke makes a WWE version of Chaos. Who would be in it? He says Bronson and Nathan Frazier as a mind game against Seth. That's a really cool idea. I like the idea of Nathan Frazier as being sort of like turning him bad and being like a Jay White type. I think that'd be kind of cool. Bronson and Shinsuke and Nathan Frazier. I think that's good. I don't know. Maybe you rebrand Dijak again as opposed to like being an 80s movie vigilante because he's just a really good wrestler. Who else does WWE have that used to be in New Japan? I don't know. Maybe like Dragon Lee. That'd be cool. Leanne is here. Says, who do you see winning the women's fatal four-way at Wembley? That's got to be Saraya. I'm pretty sure it's gonna. I think Tony is like healing it up for the England crowd. I think Saraya is going to win that thing. I think that place is going to explode because she's going to win it. That's going to be a good match, by the way. Horse Trich Incorporated says, which AEW wrestler currently would do best if they went to Hollywood? That's easy. It's MJF. MJF, he's got that Hollywood thing. It really does. I'm really interested to see him in that Von Erich movie. That's going to be really good. John Davey says, hey, Steve, do you think the women main eventing Dynamite the previous 2 weeks was just hollow tokenism from Tony Khan? There might have been a little placating there. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Add more time, and then you'll be somewhere. Let's see here. Henry says, what's a non-finisher you'd refuse to take if you're a wrestler? Oh, it's the Alabama Slam. I would never take them. Look, I'm 44 years old. I'm already not in great shape. I play basketball with Larson, and like the next day my ankle's feeling it. That being said, if I ever was a wrestler, I would veto the Alabama Slam. I mean, chop me all you want. I'm not taking an Alabama Slam. Let's see here. Tony says, who's been used better as a legend in AEW, Double J or Sting? I'm gonna push. I'm gonna say it's both. They've both been used really, really well. They've both been used really, really well. Ant Price says, what's your thoughts on Gunther versus Roman title versus title WrestleMania 40? I don't like it because somebody's got to lose, and I don't think that's going to be Gunther. And if it was Gunther, I wouldn't want him losing. Z Cantor says, where do you think would be the coolest place to hold a pay-per-view? Probably someplace in Antarctica. Rob Zerver says, what do you think is next for Jordan Grace? Apparently she is making money hand over fist on whatever fan site she has. I think it's an OnlyFans. Or Patreon. I don't know what she has. What's next for her? Whatever she wants to do. If WWE wants her, they're going to have to pony up a lot of money, I would imagine. So, I don't know. Quote the Raven says, you said Ahmed was a dropped ball, but his promos were horrible, and many wrestlers says he wasn't safe in the ring and stole LOD's football pads. Who cares what he stole LOD's football pads? I liked his, I thought like there were promos of him that I thought were really good. He might not have been great, like just standing there on the mic, but I don't know. Not a lot of people are. So yeah, I think Ahmed Johnson was totally a drop ball. Let's see here. William Dunn says, how the F did the Divas belt get a higher ranking than the NXT UK title? Man, oh man. A lot of you were not happy with my bracket fights thing with all the titles in them. because I gave the Divas title, and I did this also in the tier ranking. Here's the thing about the Divas title. If you take away the actual, like, the history of it, which was like when WWE really wasn't treating their women's division all that great, aesthetically speaking, it's a beautiful title. It really is. It is a gorgeous title, purely aesthetically speaking. I'll stand by that any day of the week. User MV8 says, does CM Punk have a wrestling physique and looks at this age and this point at this age and at this point in time? Do you think he should dye his hair and beard? No, let the gray go, man. It looks great. I like when people are like, they're showing their age. They're old and grizzled and leathery. I'm about it, man. I think CM Punk looks fine. Adam Bull says, got that one. All right, there we go. Let's go ahead and let's see here. A couple of questions from our live chat, and then we'll call it a day because most people are like, I want these things to be 15 to 25 minutes. Any questions here? Oh, here we go. Frantic World says, hey, Steve, I have a question. So Sean Ross Sapp said that Cash can still go to the All-In pay-per-view. Do you think after that match, AEW should take him off TV? Man, I don't know. It's not my call, and I couldn't even speculate. Honestly, I don't know what their policy should be. He is being tried in the court of law. If there is a punishment to be had, I think it should be in the court of law. But then again, NBA players are suspended for showing guns, like on Instagram live feeds. So maybe he should be suspended. I'm happy I don't have to deal with that because it ain't my business. And that's a heavy thing to say, oh, he should totally be suspended for this, that, or the other. I mean, I don't know, probably pointing a gun at somebody is kind of a scary thing. So I don't know, maybe he should be suspended, but I don't know. Like, I'm just a talking head, you know what I mean? And that's kind of a serious thing. So I don't know. I think that, God, I forget, what was the dude's name who got suspended like a ton of time for, John Morant. I mean, I get the NBA's policy. I understand that. Wasn't he suspended like half the season though or something? I mean, I don't know. That's a bit much. That's a bit much. Let's see here. Mike Stevens says, Fightful reported a few weeks ago that AEW is going to do a Keith Lee versus Swerve match. Is the match even worth doing at this point? Hell yeah. Absolutely. They need more build for it though, man. Okay, here we go. Goach Art says no Country for Old Men match. It's Money in the Bank, but anybody can steal the briefcase afterwards. That is a great idea. I like that idea. That's a really good one. That's thematic. I love that. Thank you, Goach. That's awesome. Brain Dead by Default says, do you think the reason there were so many talking segments on Dynamite this week was to cut down on in-ring injuries before All In? Hey, that's a possibility. That's totally a possibility. Yeah, maybe. Not even half the season, Jaw gets the baby gloves. You think half the season would have been appropriate? I don't know, man. Game Over Jesse says, can you order me a pizza? Man, I'm not going to tell you my home address. No, you can't order me a pizza. That's going to do it for Ask WrestleJuice. Thank you so much. Be on the lookout next Thursday for the community tab right here. I'll post up the questions thread, so maybe you can get on again. And next Friday, we'll go ahead and do this again live. Thanks, everybody, for hanging out. I appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you around.